What's going on, my fellow traders and entrepreneurs? Boy, am I glad some volume came into the market today. No, but yeah, I traded NVDA this morning. Had a really good morning, 5 hour day today. That's very good, compared to my average. I'm usually about 2 hour to 3 hour a day. So I scored above average on my trading. I was really conscious of my position sizing today and aware that there hasn't been any volume in the market. But the setup on NVIDIA was crazy this morning, and it just looked prime for ultimate short, for a super ultra megalodon slam dunk on this stock. So that's what I had to do. I even took on a swing position on it just because when you see certain things, I'm going to show you right now what it's forming on the daily as well as the 60-minute chart. So this is my daily chart on the bottom for reference. This is my 1 minute chart up top. And yeah, NVIDIA has been really weak, as everybody I'm sure knows, and it's kind of forming this triple top pattern, and it's not done forming yet, but it's pretty prime. It's looking pretty good. The volume coming in at this all-time high level up here has been really high on selling, and this last climb up to try to retest the level here, um, I was expecting sellers to come in, not sure where they were going to come in, but what happened is I noticed something on the 60-minute chart. I'm going to show you right now. The 60-minute chart in the past 3 days has formed this wedging pattern. The 60-minute chart has formed this triple top pattern. Aside from the one on the daily chart, this is what the 60-minute chart looks like as well. And you can see this level right here is where it's been rejecting for 3 days. Today was the third day, but for 2 days in a row, it's been rejecting this level. And the volume profile is starting to change, where the buyers were drying up here. You can see the wick starting to form. And the sellers were just able to push the price away really easily on this last candle. It didn't take them much volume to do it, so it shows that there wasn't much buying interest up here, because if there was, then after this follow through and it tested this 60-minute level here, they would have came in and supported the stock this morning. So I had all these levels marked for the pre-market as well as this 60-minute area, just because there was volume that came into the market. Buying was coming in, over the past month or so, I'd say. So this was an important level, and I wanted to see if they were going to hold the level on the retest. So now this is my 5-minute chart for reference, and it's the same 3 days, just a more detailed view of the 3 days period. And you can see, yeah, this pattern formed really well, and I saw a bottom here forming. So like I was kind of planning to play these areas coming into today, and knowing that it looked so weak on the daily chart, and it was heading up into an area where there were previous sellers. This is the pre-market action, and I kind of started to mark some levels based off of what it was doing in the pre-market, and I saw it was respecting this level right here that I drew. And it had stepped up. The buyers had stepped up again here, and they came in on some volume at the open. But just because the volume comes in bullish at the open, it doesn't mean the stock is bullish. What I've noticed as a pattern in the market is that when a stock is going to have a bearish day, usually it'll trade up at the open, because that's the institution's way of bringing in buyers so that they can liquidate their position, and get better prices when they are selling. So like, knowing that, I wasn't falling for the fake out. At the open, I was just paying really close attention to it. And if you can see here, I had a level marked at 145, which was kind of the top of the triple top head and shoulders type pattern that I showed you a little while ago. And at 145, I began to really just zoom in on the price action using the tape in level 2. And I saw sellers were coming in right around that area, right around that time, but the buyers were still in control from the open, and I saw these wicks starting to form here, and this is an indication of selling pressure. And now I'm really just paying attention to see where the sellers are going to take over at and where the buyers are at. The buyers were still stepping up, but here is where the volume profile started to change. And I saw a held ask here, that decremented because the original held ask was up here. And I did enter my position right before this big drop. And I caught this nice move down to the 145 level I had marked, and I just watched it to see what the stock price was doing, what effect the buying and selling was going to have at this level, because I know this is where the buyers had stepped up at here. So on the retest, I'm expecting buyers to come in, but when they don't come in that strong on this green candle, and I see the sellers start to step down and hold this level right here, this was my confirmation to add to the position. So I added to the position there, caught a really nice move for the break of that level. And as it approached the low of day and the opening range from this morning, I began to take off most of my size. I did try to add again here, but the buyers took control and I ended up exiting the position on the remainder of shares at break even. So now I know there's action. I see the sellers on the tape. I see they're aggressive. And just this whole move back up, like you can see the buyers kind of were trying to fight for one last push up here. And I was still bearish. I tried a short here. I tried again here. Didn't work out as I was expecting. So then I kind of had to take a breather because I didn't want to be over trading and I didn't want to fuck this trade up. Because like I've done it in the past where it's like I get so excited and I start to enter positions prematurely and then I blow up the whole trade and I end up losing money and now I'm pissed off and I'm not in the right state of mind to be trading well and I end up missing a move. So after my two losers, I was still up profit from this morning, so it was okay. It wasn't a big deal. But I really wanted to see what happened on this retest of this level. And I saw it was weak. I saw the sellers slamming the stock. I saw the price skipping. I saw the tape looking really bearish. I saw sellers jumping in on the ask here, stacking with big lots, and the buyers were just unable to push the price up through it. So those are all bearish signals when you see them. My first trade, I entered here. I added to position here. It didn't go my way right away. Removed half my size to minimize risk in case it went against me because I was carrying some pretty heavy size. And the reason for that was because I considered this to be an apex move where this was the beginning of the selling. That was going to take place all day. When you see a triple top on a 60-minute or daily minute chart, and the way the stock has been performing over the past month, like there's potential for a huge move. And this is one of the positions where you can kind of turn this into a swing if you wanted to, because a sell-off like this could last 3 or 4 weeks. And I do have longer term targets in mind, and that's why this morning I did enter into a swing position as well, which is I'm holding some shares that I'm going to hold and see how they perform over the next few days. But I'm already profitable on those shares, and it's because of the planning that goes into it and understanding the volume profiles, understanding the technical analysis. Now, yeah, I looked weak. I added, and then I removed most of my size here, and then exited here because I was carrying heavy size and the move the buyers were still fighting. And this is where the profile began to change. The buyers had dried up. This was the last buying volume that came in. And you could completely see just, when they give up, they give up. It shows on the tape. You don't see much green with buying here. And the green you do see will be decrementing the price. So usually buying is supposed to lift the price up, but when you see it skipping and pushing the price down when the buyers are trying to buy, that means there's sellers creating a wall here. And I could just see them jumping in on the tape. You see these highlighted type of orders I have here? That's like sellers that are placing orders and just waiting for buyers to come up to where they want to buy so they can fill their order. Those are very patient sellers. I saw a lot of big sellers entering. I did enter again on the hold of the level from earlier this morning, showing that this was the third test of the level and the buyers were unable to push the price through. I saw the volume profile change. I entered with heavy size here due to the sellers stepping down. I saw it on the tape where the ceiling was above. They had now stepped down and there was a ceiling here that the buyers were unable to push back through on a retest. I held my position, break of this level, first partial. I knew we were coming towards the bottom of the range again, and I began to move most of my size here and just holding some to break even. And when the buyers didn't step up like they were supposed to, like you can see them come in here, but relative to what the tape was showing, the tape was just showing aggressive sellers, and every single time the buyers tried to push the price back up, the sellers would just slam, 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 and they would just you could see the stock was weak and the buyers were desperate at that point. And it was also trading below VWAP. This little squiggly white line here, this is VWAP. That's a very important indicator on anyone's chart. Who's a trader should have it. And as the buyers lost VWAP, this is a retest of VWAP. So knowing that, this is an area you really want to pay attention to, because if the buyers reclaim, that means they still have some strength. That means there's going to be a struggle. But when I didn't see the buyers put up a fight here, this was confirmation to begin adding to my position. And I know they were fighting down here. I know there were buyers down here. So like, yeah, I wanted to protect myself from downside. I already had locked in some really good gains. So I removed size quickly here. But when they tested it, the level again here and didn't come back in, I added heavy here. And yeah, it broke. Bottom of the range broke. So yeah, I just zoomed in on the chart, but this was that ad I was telling you about. And as it broke down the bottom of that range, I began to take some of the size off. And if you can see here, this was the low of day. So just being conscious that I'm coming up into that was an area of potential reversal if the buyers did choose to step in. And they were still fighting every time they came to this area. So the volume tells you that, the tape tells you that. I saw they were still aggressive there and they were trying to fight for position. So I was aware of that, and I was just looking for an ad. Basically, when you take size off, it frees up your available money to add back into a position later on. So at the same time as taking profits, I'm aware that this could be a potentially bigger move. And I'm aware that if the buyers push the price back up to the level of a previous break like right here, then yeah, that's a potential for another ad. And that's exactly what I did. As they came back up, I added back shares. And I gotta work on my parceling, honestly. And most of these are 8% partials, so it's not like I'm taking off really big size until I get down to like really significant areas in question. But yeah, once they broke the bottom of this range, I knew we were in business. And this is like, yeah, I had another chance to add here, but I kind of hesitated, and then I missed an entry. And once you miss an entry, you don't want to be chasing a stock because your risk to reward gets all messed up. Like if I bought too close to the bottom here, this is the area where it has a potential for a reversal. So yeah, I didn't add, but I did hold. It gave me conviction seeing what I was seeing on the tape, the lower and lower bids. It was just a very bearish morning. And that paired with my thesis actually proving to be correct, it gave me conviction to hold. I saw that 142 was a potential level where it might struggle, and that ended up being my target. And I want to show you something that's really important. I don't know if you can see it on my chart. Let me see if I can pull up a bigger window for you. All right, so this is a bigger image of a 60-minute chart. And this area on the side of the chart where these volume bars are that go all the way up the chart, this is volume by price. So these ones are volume by time. They tell you as the time is going, how much volume is coming in. And this tells you at what prices here, the prices are having the greatest volume. So like you can see that the level from this morning was a really big volume area for people trading right around this whole area up here. And what I noticed was at my neckline, which was here, the head and shoulders neckline was here. So I know if it breaks this area, if you compare the volume here, this formed a vacuum zone where the next big volume doesn't come down to this price level here, which is 140. And yeah, there was one actually here at 142. But that gives you conviction to hold on to your trades a little longer, because what happens in vacuum zones is like once there's nobody interested in buying the stock, that's why the vacuum forms, is it's showing that there's no volume. The price will just move to the next area where there's volume coming in. So it moves real fast, and some people call it a speed zone because the way the price moves, moving through those areas, is just like it just tanks. And if it's going up, same thing. If it's going through a vacuum area and the buyers are the ones in control, it will just fly right up to the next price area where there's volume at. So knowing that when it did hit this level, if you can see, when it did get to that level 143, where I had marked on a 60-minute chart, the beginning of the vacuum zone where there's no volume coming in down till here, around 142, and then seeing the confirmation on the order book that there were orders, big orders at 142, gave me conviction to hold on to my trade, because my target from this morning was actually here at 143. So I shorted here and I caught it down to 143. But when the buyers didn't come in and step up like they were supposed to, like they did this morning, they lost the pre-market low, they lost the support, they lost the neckline from the head and shoulder. These are all bearish indications. And when they lost this level and came back to retest it, I'll show you on a 5-minute. So this is the 5-minute, and this is that same area, speed zone area right here. And this was the retest candle right here. 5-minute candle, retest candle. Look at the volume. No buyers interested in buying at all. They were panicking. Everyone sold because they were in long positions, the buyers from this morning. But when they lost the level of their entry, now they're underwater. They have to sell. That led to this big candle. This was a perfect area for an ad. I didn't add, but when they lost here, I'm aware that this is a vacuum zone, and that's what I had for a target, was the next area where sellers were going to come. Where buyers were going to come and potentially give resistance to the sellers in the form of support. So yeah, got out right as it broke 142. It broke on some really nice volume. It had a nice push down, and I just exited the position because I know I didn't want to wait around and see what was going to happen next. I'm aware that it may have kept going down and sold off all day, which, if we can check the price right now, where's it at? It's coming back up. Okay, so it's coming back up. It's going to, more than likely, what the stock is going to do is it's going to retest VWAP. I told you VWAP is a very important indicator, and this is where the institutions like to get an average price around. So as they're selling off, they'll wait for the stock to correct as it becomes extended, so they don't get bad fills. They'll let the buyers take control. Like right now, the buyers are in control. Nobody's selling anymore. And then once it gets back around this level, it'll retest, the level it lost from earlier. Then you're just going to see like a massive drop again. The sellers are going to come back in on volume. And more than likely, this is going to sell off for the next few days. Just based on the price action from the 60-minute chart. The next the next support is here. This is where the buyers came in last. And this is also a significant level that I have marked from the daily chart. And daily chart. Okay. So the daily chart, 140 is former resistance here, if you can see. Also 135 is former resistance here. So these levels I already have marked. I'm aware that it's forming a triple top pattern. And if you can kind of understand the way stocks behave, you can look into the future and see what probable outcomes are. It's not to say that you're always going to be accurate in your predictions, but you want to try to get inside the minds of these institutional players and understand how they're thinking and how they're planning for their future positions. And I know money's coming out of NVDA. Everyone's liquidating NVIDIA and they're rebalancing their portfolios. It's the end of the year. And this head and shoulders pattern here is a very bearish signal. Now, the neckline is here. So this is the next area for my long swing position. Short swing position. I'm looking for buyers to come in here. And if they don't come in and retest, this is going to be a massive move. And that's just my thesis. And obviously that's a longer term position, but I'm already risk free on the position due to timing my position so well this morning, based on the 60-minute chart showing me the same thing that the daily minute chart showed me. So I entered a position with a tight stop loss above it, but I'm aware that if it goes down as I'm expecting, I want to get my stop to break even. And now it's 100% risk-free trade. If I get stopped out, I made $0, but I lost $0. And if it goes my way, I'm good. I already made money. I'm up money already on the trade. But this is kind of my trade for the day. I traded Mara. I took one shot at it. But the way NVIDIA was acting, Mara was a good short this morning too. Mara, this is a 15-minute chart showing a triple top pattern as well. If you can see, here, this is the head, and this is the right shoulder. This is the neckline. This would become resistance across here. And I was already aware it sold off yesterday. I did catch a nice short on Mari yesterday, but I'm aware that it's really bearish lately. Volume, volume, bearish volume, and coming into today, it was being bought up at the open. I had this daily level marked as potential support due to the higher time frame daily level. It was an area that they had bought at and sold at before, and they really fight at this area. Every time Mara gets to this level, it's like a huge fight takes place. So I'm aware like there's a lot of volatility. It's good to catch a move, but NVIDIA's setup just was a lot more prime for just a dump. I'm aware buyers are still interested in Mara, and I'm aware, yeah, sellers could short here, but I was anticipating that it wasn't going to be as great a move. And it would have been nice, yeah, I would have caught this and probably ended up catching along as the buyers begin to take control and reclaim that level. But when you're grading your trades, you always want to be conscious of which trade ideas are more superior and give them a grade, like an A setup or B setup. And technically, this was an A setup due to it being at a daily level. But that triple top on NVIDIA on the 60 in the daily, and just me knowing that the buying that happened on NVIDIA over the past couple days was on such dry volume, and it was bullshit. It's really just the institutions who try to run in the buyers so that they can dump positions. And they used to do that to me. So I already know I'm not a fool. Like, you got me a few times on that, but you're not going to keep doing that to me. Now I done caught on to their habits, and once you can understand the patterns that start to form from being in the market long enough, you can see, and you can kind of get into the minds of some of these people that are behind these positions and the way they act and the way they move. Each stock is different because you got different people who are behind the trades on different stocks. Like some people might be only interested in trading one stock. You might have a huge trader that just trades Mara. You might have several institutions that are only buying and selling in specific positions inside of their portfolio. So I've been trading NVIDIA long enough where I kind of got a feel and an understanding of how this stock behaves and what it means when I see certain things. And what you see in NVIDIA won't apply to a stock like Mara, and it won't apply to a stock like Tesla because they all have different characters. Like, it's like almost like a human. Like these stocks behave in different manners when it comes to how they buy, how they sell, what you'll see on the tape as far as buying and selling. Like, they perform very differently, and NVIDIA is almost like we're good friends now. Let's just say that. Me and NVIDIA got a little thing. Me and Mara too. Mara's my girl too, but she just wasn't looking as attractive as NVIDIA has been lately. And me and NVIDIA, I haven't seen NVIDIA in a while, so like I was waiting for this. This was the moment right here, the moment of truth. And yeah, it did turn out to be a good morning for me. I'm going to be sharing win or loss, win or lose. I'm going to be sharing my trades daily. I'm going to try my best to be here daily and share my trades. I hope you find the information useful because I also want to teach as sharing my trades and recapping my morning trades. It does help me to recap and to go over what I seen and what I was thinking as the trade was playing out. So this helps me and it helps you as well, I would hope. If there is any suggestions, comments, concerns, or anything you want to know more about, please drop it in the chat, the comment section. Give me some feedback. Let me know I'm doing something right. I know certain teachers, they're boring. They'll put you to sleep. I've been in classes trying to figure this day trading shit out. And some of these guys, man, they're just boring as hell. But I'm trying to make this interesting and I want to make it an interactive environment as well. So yeah, if you do have any feedback or advice or things that I can improve on, please feel free to let me know. Thank you for watching. And as they say in the trading world, keep it green.